Hello everybody, welcome to Cape Rugby TV. It's Wednesday night. We talk about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. We're very excited to have you along. We'll be taking a look at a whole lot of action this evening. A lot of different games, a lot of variety, so a lot more rugby action than we normally have. Because a lot of people are sharing their videos now, and we're able to bring you some rugby action content. Let me introduce you, of course, to our sponsors. Hisense, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV as the official technical partner. Score Energy Drinks on board with Cape Rugby TV, and as you know, they're supporting a lot of the clubs out there. And of course, looking forward to the Score Sevens a little bit later in the year. Dulux and Maitland at number 30 Coburg Road. They'll take care of all your paint supplies. They're the specialist paint center. And of course, MChem 24-hour pharmacy on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. And Springbok Atlas now on board with Cape Rugby TV to help you with your affordable bus bookings. We know that you all travel away to away games, and you certainly need transport for that. Let me introduce you now to my panel this evening. Jerome Parvata, welcome back.
Hi JP, yeah, it's good to be back, and it's good to see Faisal. I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know where he was, but I haven't seen him. But it's good to see Faisal again.
Yeah, no one really sees Faisal much. He's just behind the scenes. Farley, welcome.
Well, thanks JP, it's good to be here. I think the drought in that has kept me out of action net as well. So yeah, it's finally good to be on the show.
Yeah, it's certainly kept most of the clubs out of action. Yeah. I mean, we haven't had any rugby for 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
Now you're playing catch up.
Yeah. No, I think it's next 2 months is jam-packed. 2 months in that there. Yeah. Lots happening. You can see with the clubs in that they're out in action in that there. So yeah.
It's almost like everything's been forgotten.
Yes, definitely on that. I think everybody's forgotten about the drought, the water restrictions. It's all just rugby.
But have they? I mean, that's a good question actually. I mean, are people still being careful with their fields? I mean, I know, in fact, it's a good thing that we're catching up with you, because the last we had you on the show, we were talking about the fact that the fields had to still be monitored. The city was doing a scoring process that you had to make sure that your fields were still in good condition. Where are we at now?
Look, I think at the moment the city and the clubs are working together very closely in terms of monitoring the fields. There is still the water restrictions in terms of the amount of usage that they allowed to have in that there. Yeah. But I must say the clubs have played their part in terms of assisting and helping and working with the city in terms of monitoring and that there. So the feedback from the city has been good in terms of that communication and that. So the relationship, I think the clubs understand that in order to play rugby, they need to work together.
Yeah. So the facility managers, I suppose, are all hands-on at the moment at all the various facilities and making sure that, I did speak to Jerome the other week about how he looks after his garden to make sure that the clubs learn how to lay the grass and things like that. But he was no help at all. Yeah. So we couldn't get any proper answers out of Jerome.
I don't have a garden anymore.
You don't have a garden anymore.
I can't give you an answer on that.
And then we thought about getting your greenskeeper at Newlands, Julian Barnard, involved to advise on how do you make your grass grow. Because I think a lot of people didn't know. Do you cut the lawn? Do you leave the grass? Do you let it grow? I mean, this is quite a technical process.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Japes, I mean, being out when I used to do my inspections and that there in terms of...
In your garden?
Not in the garden at the clubs. My garden is artificial, so I've got artificial lawn. I think that's the way to go. But I think from the club side, the guys have been active. They've been doing stuff on their own as well. So if you look at some of the fields, the fields are the way it is because of the clubs and the involvement, and some of them have actually forked out, some of the finances out of their own pockets and that. But I think from the city side, they're looking at options in terms of ensuring that it doesn't happen where there's JoJo tanks and boreholes and stuff and that. I think the idea is, we're playing, but at the moment we mustn't forget that there is still the possibility, with restrictions and that. Yeah.
All right, so folks, we're not out of the woods. Remember, the water restrictions have not been lifted in Cape Town for anybody. You must still shower only for a very short time. Recycle your water wherever possible. Yeah, so water restrictions are long gone. Anyway, let's get on with the show now. Of course, a lot of rugby action, as I mentioned. Our featured game of the weekend was Thunderstel Evergreens up against Blue Stars United. It was a big game for them. We'll take a look at the highlights as well as the interviews with the captains and coaches a little bit later during the course of the show. But we've also got highlights from Durbell up against Brackenfell, SK Warmers up against Villagers, and Union Mill up against NTK. Once again, a couple of surprising results over the weekend. It looks like our predictions are only landing at the moment at about 5%, no, at about 90%. Most of our predictions are right, but there's always that one game or one or two games that do take take us by surprise. Let's quickly take a look at the results in Super League A. It was a win for Villagers, 50 points to 24 over SK Warmers. Union Mill beating NTK 50-41. Hamilton's with a win over St George's 57-12. Durbell beating Brackenfell 34-22. And then Bellar went down to Tygerberg 69 points to 12. Our featured game, first game highlights. Let's take a look before we take a look at some of the stats and speak to Mr. Parvater about the game action. Let's see the highlights now between Durbell and Brackenfell. Right, welcome back everybody. Of course, big match there between Durbell and Brackenfell. At the moment, Durbell is sitting on the top of the log with Hamilton's in second place, Union Mill and Brackenfell. Let's quickly take a look at the logs in Super League A, just to give us a feel. Durbanville at the top on 32 points, followed by Hamilton's, Union Mill, Brackenfell, False Bay, Tygerberg and Marty's, who still have a lot of games in hand, playing a bit of catch-up, as UCT is also in position number 8, also playing catch-up. I think we're almost at that stage now where we're getting to the feel for who's going to get into the top 6, and we're going to be speaking to Faisal Felton about the league structure and where that is going and what the clubs are thinking at the moment. But Jerome, let's go to you. Looking at that game, certainly we're in a situation here that Brackenfell is they've been a star outfit this year. They've certainly grown over the last 2 or 3 years, but Durbell just a little bit too strong.
Yeah, I must say, JP, heads off to the coaches. 2 well drilled sides there. You can see how they want to play, how Durbell want to play. Durbell is known for their big packer forwards, how they want to play. Brackenfell also have good forwards, but they play a lot with their backs. The only problem with Brackenfell there is on the try line, which they actually let in 2 tries in. The defense, where 5-10 meters from your try line, you can't turn your shoulders and wait. You actually have to press up harder and to go fetch the defenders there. So you immediately, if the number 13 and 14 both turn their shoulders and almost run backwards. So you can't run backwards. They're supposed to press up and stay. They had a great defensive line.
Are you talking about when you're on the line and you're defending the line itself?
Yeah, on the line. It was 2 errors that Brackenfeld made there. And but overall, in that first half was quite tight. I mean, they came back and scored a nice try in the first half. And Durbanville, you could see, we call it, like in the 22, we call it the power zone. So you can see where they slow it down and where they hit up with their forwards, try to suck in backs, and then play it at once. They actually scored of a pick and go, which you can see what they want to do, and that's how Super A is. It's almost like close to what the professional guys do. So I must say, it's up to both the coaches there.
All right, folks, as you know, MChem 24-hour pharmacy is on board with Cape Rugby TV. Right, so having a look at that, if you want to download the Cape Rugby TV mobile app, all right, just go to the iTunes store or onto Google Play, and you can download the Cape Rugby TV mobile app, and all our sponsors are on the app. So if you want to phone MChem 24-hour pharmacy, well, then you simply push the logo, the icon at least, and the number pops up, 9485706. There's the number, and I can call them straight away. So if you've forgotten any of our service providers' phone numbers, it's on the mobile app. You just push there for bus bookings, for Score, for Dulux, Maitland, and MChem, as I say. So very easy to find the contacts. So MChem 24-hour pharmacy, they're on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. It's the only 24-hour pharmacy in Cape Town that I know of. They've got all your orthopedic needs. They've got a beautiful clinic at the top. You go and sit and relax there and get your manicures or pedicures, and of course, not to mention the fact that there's a coffee shop there as well that you can go and relax at. I don't know of a pharmacy with a coffee shop inside. Sports nutrition supplements are the best prices, and I think one of the real bonuses there is the fact that there's free parking. The parking is easy. You just drive straight in, and there's always parking available, and it's free. So really, it's one of the leading pharmacies in Cape Town. Have been around for a very long time. Mr. Hilton Malach has had that pharmacy pretty much forever, and what I love about going to MChem is the fact that Mr. Malach or his partners Lee and Jill, they've got such a family environment there at the MChem 24-hour pharmacy. You pop in there, and within seconds of walking in the door, somebody from MChem comes up and asks you if you need service, and it really is fantastic. So MChem 24-hour pharmacy on the corner of the N1 and Durban Road. Just look for that big sign. We'll take an ad break, and when we come back for the break, we're going to take a look at the highlights between the Hamiltons and St. George's. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. During the course of the show, I'm going to give you an opportunity to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks. All right, Score is, of course, on board with Western Province Club Rugby and many of the clubs out there, and of course with the Sevens tournament at the end of the year. You can see the jerseys behind me, right? Well, there it is, right behind me. In fact, I'm not sure whose jersey is that. That is Blue Stars. Blue Stars United jersey up there with the Score logo on it, and in fact that's coincidence that a little bit later during the course of the show we'll take a look at the match between Blue Stars and Van der Stel Evergreen. So remember, send us your jersey. You see a whole lot of Score jerseys. Now, get your mobile phones handy. 33090. Keep your phones handy. You'll have a chance to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks. Right, we've got a couple of highlights still coming up. We're going to take a look now at the highlights between the match between Hamiltons and St. George's. Right, welcome back, folks. Hamilton St George's. It was win for Hamilton's, 57 points to 12. Jerome, you were looking at the footage there. You reckon St George's could have put a few more points on the board?
Yeah, JP, I've been at that game and got a nice day. No wind, nothing, perfect. The perfect day for rugby. In the first half, St George's were right in the game. I thought that they could have scored one more try at least in the first half, but they changed their tactics a lot. Also, St George's, especially the first half, they were kicking a lot. So that's not what St George's are known. They're known for playing the ball and spread the ball wide and play.
Well, looking at that back line, they've certainly. I mean, look at that fullback from St George's who's firing.
Yeah, so they could have kept the ball more in the first half, and like I said, there were a couple of tries, but take nothing away from Hamilton's. Their number 7, he was actually the guy. I think he scored 3 tries in that game, and
very fast.
Yeah, how they played properly, like in the wide channel, because St George's had a smaller wing, so they use him a lot in the wide channel, and he's got a lot of gas, run quite hard, and. But yeah, that score in the second half wasn't.
Just looking at the game itself, there. Any advice for the two clubs?
Yeah, Hamilton's were a bit. I think because of the SK game, they were a bit. The first half they were a bit rusty, and I mean they could have used their opportunities a lot more also.
Yeah.
By playing in the right half of the field and just keep the ball, because physically they were stronger, and that's what happened in the second half. And just the last point there on the second half with the soft try that they let in, St George's let in under 5 meters from the try line. You either decide you're gonna go up, contest, or you try to stop the maul. There was a in between, and they didn't even go up, and it was an easy try. The guy just caught the ball at the back of the line and score.
One of the points of advice you can give any club there is decide what you want to do.
Contest,
or
5 meters from your line, you decide if you
What
have.
is generally the best? What would you say is generally the best?
Generally,
thing to do?
the best thing is like you act like you're gonna contest, but you just stay strong. Either sack the maul immediately. That's what we do, but then. The back defender also there of St George's, I think the number 2. Yeah. He's supposed to watch the overthrow and
okay. All right, we're going to have to move on now. We're running a little bit tight on time. Union Mill up against NTK. Let's take a look at the highlights there, and we'll get Mr. Parvater again, and then we're going to come to Faisal to give us a little bit of advice on not advice, I mean his input on what's happening in the top 6. Check out now, Union Mill against NTK. All right, welcome back, everybody. A massive game there, Union Mill against NTK. And of course, at the moment, that puts Union Mill at number 3 on the log. Ishmael Dolly and his guys doing fantastic there. Let's just move now, Jerome. 50 points to 41. The obvious thing that jumps out for me there is this is 91 points on the board.
Yeah, there's actually, this game was actually poor defense. I mean, if there's 90 points on the field, then guys need to focus, both NNK and Unimil.
Yeah.
The problem with Unimil was as soon as guys NTK ran twice through the centers there of Unimil. So I think if guys beat you on the inside, defensive thing, normally you give the guys the outside gap, because in rugby you have 16 defenders, and the old saying is the 16 guy is not the ref or the toucher, it's the touch line.
Yeah,
so you give them the space on the outside, and that's how you defend. So your 15 became the last defender.
Yeah.
But once they
I don't
open up the
understand the
holes,
mathematics on that, because then I would have said that you've actually got 17 players because there's 2 touch lines.
yeah, there's 2, but I said you leave the 2 touches out,
Yeah.
and you can have 18, you leave the ref out, you just use the touch line.
Okay.
So that's normal, that's
High-scoring
basic
game.
defense.
Bottom line on your side, just looking at, and obviously we only looked at some of the tries there, but the advice that you're pulling out there, 91 points on board, unacceptable. Both sides
yeah.
Defense has to improve.
Especially in the midfield.
Right, midfield defense is the midfield defense that has to be taken a look at. Right, let's take a look at the logs again. Durban at the top, Hamilton's, Union Mill, Brackenfell, Falsebay, Tygerberg, Stellenbosch, UCT, NTK, Villages and St George's are your top 11, followed by Vix, SK, Bella and UWC. Faisal, we were talking about this last week. If we look at the division leagues at the moment, the Northern League, the City League, the Southern League, those clubs have all got 10 or 12 game or at least log numbers in their leagues.
Yeah.
So they've passed the halfway mark now.
Correct.
But if we look at Super League A, B and C, it's a different story.
Yeah.
15 teams in each league, and the teams are all now playing for the top 6. Am I right?
That's correct. Look, JP, if you look at the Super League A, Super League B, Super League C, it's all still wide open in that there. I mean, I think this week, for the next 3 weeks, you'll start sifting through in terms of the top teams and the bottom in that there, with the universities coming into play. So, for the next 3 weeks, or at least for the next couple of weeks, the universities will be playing Saturday, Monday. If you look at the logs, I mean, I've been now, hounded by certain people who've at beginning felt that competition's not exciting. All of a sudden it's now exciting because they still have a chance, even though they're 6th on the log. If you look at the logs currently, team number 10 has still got a chance of winning the league. Currently.
It wasn't so long ago that Marty's and UCT were number 1 on the log.
Correct.
Well, and UWC.
Yeah.
Well, 1, 2, and 3.
Correct.
Because the university started in the week.
Correct. But I mean, if you look at it, it's exciting. Even up Villages, they're sitting on 12 points after 6. 1 win, all of a sudden they shoot to 7 on the log. 7 on the log.
Yeah.
So what's great about the competition? There's always that excitement and the opportunity or the chance that you can still make the knockout stages and that thing.
So the reminder to the folks that are watching now, the format is you play your 14 games. If you're in a 15 team league, you play your 14 games, and the top 6 are going to be going into the knockout rounds.
Yeah, that's correct. So I mean, team number 6 still has a chance of winning the league.
Yeah.
So you play 14 matches, your top 6, 1 and 2 is automatically progresses to the semi-final, and then 4, 5 and 6 will play off to determine who plays against 1 and 2 in the semi-final and that.
So the important thing is get into the top 6. You don't have to be you don't have to be number 1 on the log.
Correct. I mean, if you look at the log, number 10 has still got a chance, but at the same time, from 11 down to 15, the fight is still about survival.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 teams.
That's the other thing.
Correct.
Is, I mean, the clubs have now, you've got a choice which way to go. You want to make it in the top 6, and you want to avoid bottom 3.
Correct. So you sort of caught between.
Why do you want to avoid bottom 3?
Well, look, the bottom 3 is obviously the teams going down. So obviously, a lot of the clubs, they want to basically stay in the league. But at the same time, you're playing for survival. But at the same time, you also have opportunity where you can end on the 6.
In your experience, what would you say is the danger zone? Is it sort of the bottom 5 or the bottom 6? What's the number that you would take a guess at?
JP, if you look at currently, I would say the bottom 6 is danger zone. If you look at team number 14 and 15, one win automatically and you jump to 10 on the league and on the log points and that thing. So anything is possible. Every game is vital. I mean, last week no one thought Hamilton's would lose, and if you look at Hamilton's, the attitude now is home ground advantage.
Well, I think there were some big surprises.
Correct.
I mean, SK Wilmers has surprised everybody here.
Correct.
From wins to losses, back to wins, back to losses.
Correct.
We're not really sure what's going on. I mean, and we've seen the same thing. I mean, we're going to take a look at Super League B in a second. Yeah, it can go anywhere.
Anyway, I mean, I think this week the decider is obviously there's one team who's unbeaten, which is UCT, who play against False Bay.
And Masiphumelele.
And Masiphumelele in leagues.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a number of them.
There's a couple.
The point is, obviously, anything can happen in the league and that. There's no unbeatens. In the past, you had teams that were runaway.
Yeah. Right, we're running a little bit tight on time, folks. Let's take a look now at the match between False Bay and, well, in fact, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll take a look at the match between False Bay and UCT. But before we do that, don't forget, Dulux Maitland is at number 30 Coburg Road, and you can get down there and they will take a look at all your paint specs for you, right? So if you have a house or a building or a construction site or even a wall, they will come out and they will look, and service is the best. Dulux Maitland, number 30 Coburg Road, they're your specialist paint center. They'll measure everything for you, and that way, and then they'll do your coloring for you. So that way you will know exactly how much paint you need, what type of brushes you need, and you won't have anything left over. You'll save yourself a lot of money, and you'll save yourself a lot of time. And I think time is probably the most important thing for people right now. Right, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll take a look at the highlights between False Bay and UCT. Right, welcome back, everybody. Cape Rugby TV. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. Right, we're going to wrap up with Super League A now. Let's look at the match of the week. We're also going to highlight in Super League B and C. We'll take a look at the featured matches there. All Saints against Helderberg. That's our game of the weekend. That's where we will be going. And of course, I will be talking to you in a second about Retreat. Retreat are having a massive centenary. They're turning 100 years old. Anthony Elmerson and the guys have got everybody out there, from veterans games to youth games. And of course, their main game this weekend is happening at 4 o'clock at the Retreat ground, starting at 1 o'clock. So a lot of action out there. But this weekend, our highlight game that we will be filming is All Saints against Helderberg. But we'll also be taking a look at some of the match-ups. Match-ups in Super League A will be False Bay up against UCT. Super League B, as we mentioned, All Saints and Helderberg. And the Super League C match-up will be Strand versus Kylemore. A little bit later during the show, we'll show you the highlights from the game we featured over the weekend. Van der Stel up against Van der Stel Evergreens, at least, up against Blue Stars. Let's take a look at the results now in Super League. In fact, let's quickly wrap up with Super League A. Match stats here. Jerome, it's False Bay up against UCT. Looking at the stats here, UCT are just getting started. They're, of course, low on the log at the moment in position number 8. False Bay is sitting at number 5. Win ratios don't really count here because UCT is only just getting started. They've got 100%, but False Bay is sitting at an 80% success rate at the moment. It's a difficult match to look at from a stats point of view because UCT haven't played as many games as False Bay. But looking at these stats, UCT had a good start to the season. So far, the fact is they are unbeaten, and they are putting points on the board, and they're scoring a good average amount of tries per game.
Yeah, they're really looking good, JP. But so is False Bay. So this will be a decider for, like Faisal was saying, you can see where things are going because UCT is basically the only side that hasn't lost a game. So so what happened this week will be, as you say, it's open for everybody. So I just think that this is going to be.
Well, the interesting thing here is that in terms of the log stats, there's only a 4-point difference. Even though they are lower on the log, I mean they're very close. Yeah,
that's exactly, and also they're quite good on their defense. UCT, they work a lot on that.
Yeah.
So
any prediction?
I just think because of False Bay was playing a lot of rugby, and we actually played last Thursday. We played against UCT with my under-21 side because they need game time.
Yeah.
But I think on that game time, because the more you play, the better you become. So I think False Bay they had the edge on that.
All right. Faisal, on your side, I know you have to remain neutral, being from the union itself, but you got two top teams playing here. Do you think that you might see them in the top 6?
Definitely, JP. I think UCT and False Bay will definitely be in the top 6. I think, as you know,
it's a big call.
It's a big call, but I think, you know, for me, at the end of the day, it's about rugby, and I think, you know, like Jerome says, you know, UCT is the only unbeaten side. I like the playing fields leveled. You know, one knock from UCT will be good to see how they cope and how they react. I think the advantage is that the universities have now is they know how many points they need to get.
They've of course been playing a lot of rugby outside of the league at the USA, so it's not as if they haven't been playing rugby.
Yeah, they played 1 weekend in that. Obviously, they've been playing in that there. But I think, like Jerome has said, game time is important. So they've been laid off. It's a couple of games in that. But but I mean, they've been off now since the 19th of May. So it's from league rugby and that there.
As we know,
training.
Western Province Super League A is a high league, so it's almost like practice matches.
No, definitely. I think it'll be interesting to see how they cope coming back.
All right, well, let's take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll take a look at the. In fact, we could probably take a look now already at the results in Super League B. So a lot of action in Super League B, and we'll take a look at some of the stats there as well. So Super League B, very interesting results here. Vineyards, a very close game here between Franschhoek and Vineyards. 32-31 win for Franschhoek, just 1 point. Rangers then beating All Saints, also just 1 point, 32-31. Primrose went down to Paarl, 27-19, but Paarl are the log leaders. Kells River going down to Peneel Villages, 36-31. Collegians drawing with Hamlet. Right, let's take a quick look at the log then. And at the top of the pile, Paarl, Kells River, Hamlet, Franschhoek, Helderberg, Belleville, Young Peoples and Vineyards. Those are your top 8 at the moment. Primrose sneaking back in there at number 9 on the log. All Saints. Well, you saw the result there. All Saints is certainly a threatening side. So there are some big games this weekend. Of course, our featured game of the weekend is going to be the All Saints Helderberg game. But Jerome, let's take a look at this. Franschhoek, Vineyards, that was a derby match, if you want to call it that. They're not far from each other. But Franschhoek just sneaking it in. They're a contender.
Yeah, away win. That's a good win for them. I know Vineyards won't be happy with that one.
Yeah, and then Faisal, a good win for Rangers. They're back on the board now against a fairly tough All Saints, 32-31.
No, definitely a good win for them. I think it's something that they needed coming back now, you know, weeks off from the fast and that there. So that Super League is very tight. I mean, the results speak for itself. You can see
but this is
1 point.
I think it's almost the 3rd year in a row that we're seeing the same kind of thing, 1 point wins and very tight at the top of the log and bottom of the log.
Correct. I think, you know, a lot of the teams that are playing in the Super League B actually enjoy playing in that league. It's very tight, it's very competitive. I think a lot of the guys are happy just to stay there, put it that way. So
the surprise win, I think the surprise win, and we had this as a matchup, so we said if we look at the stats, Peneel Villages was sitting low on the log. We'll take another look at the log in a second. Folks, let's quickly have a look at that log there now. But if you look at the log, last week's log, you will see Peneel Villages were very low on the log, and they were coming up against, Kells River, who I think at the time was sitting at number 1 on the log. Jerome, it just goes to show, again, we were talking about this earlier on, any team can do it on the day. And Peneel Villages, the stats showed us that Peneel Villages had all the work cut out for them, and Kells River home ground advantage were going to be potentially walking away with it. Peneel Villages obviously turned it on.
Yeah, I think for any coach, it's difficult because, I mean, and it's a home game, and you know, like Peneel Villages was struggling. So for any coach to keep your players' feet on the ground would have been very, very difficult for Kells River's coach Easters, because they might have thought it's going to be a walk in the park. But Super League B, any team in the day can beat any team.
Let's take a look at the matchups now then. All Saints against Helderberg. Some interesting numbers here. It is our featured game, sitting at number 10 and 5 on the log. Log points, not that much difference. There's a win percentage ratio for All Saints of 29%, even though they've just walked away with that 1 point loss against Rangers. So I think that this match between Helderberg, Faisal Helderberg and All Saints is going to be a tough game.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a derby out in Strand and that there. A lot of support, you know, for both teams and that there. So I think it's an exciting game, you know.
So it's one of those games that the stats, well, you can read something into the stats, but derby days, anything happens on the day.
Now, I think, JP, if you look at the results overall, no game is predictable. I think that's the lesson learned, especially from Kells River.
Yeah.
You focus on the league, on the season. You focus on each game, and you take each game, and play each game on merit.
Let's take a look at the results in Super League C. Young Wesley's with a win over Strand United, 27 points to 20. Young Stars went down to Lunga, 110 points to 0. Something not going well there. Strand with a win over Solorians, 31-22, and Manenberg Rangers went down to Kylamore, 27 points to 8. Our featured game there in Super League C this weekend is Strand up against Kylamore. Jerome, this is a very equal game. With a win percentage ratio here of 71% for Strand, and Kylamore with an away game, but they've got a higher win percentage ratio of 80%. This means that they've played 7 and won 5 and played 5 and won 4. Close game it's going to be. We're certainly looking at a situation there of similar tries, similar average points. Do you think the home ground scenario for Strand might take it?
Yeah, they might, but I think if I look at that, I think just the focus point on for Strand will be the defense.
Yeah.
Which look like they let a lot of points in.
Yeah, well, their season points on the board, though, certainly in favour at the moment. Points against. Well, in fact, season points scored also much higher in the Strand favour. Right, folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we will be taking a look at the results, fixtures and logs, of course, from Super League, from the City, Northern, Southern and Par Leagues. We'll also take a look at the featured game that we from Funestel Evergreens up against Blue Stars. But don't forget, you can join the Newlands Faithful. If you haven't joined the Western Province Rugby Supporters Club, the Newlands Faithful, or the Faithful, if you want to call it, is of course available to you at just R1,000 membership. www.wprugby.com if you want to join the Newlands Faithful. And we know that everyone has got their preferences. Brand new cap for you, R500 Adidas voucher, the Faithful membership card, and of course that official certificate of membership available to you with bonus gifts from various sponsors. That's fantastic. A free gym membership trial from Virgin Active, and of course the Faithful SIM card starter package also available to you courtesy of Vodacom, and it'll be couriered directly to you via DHL. A membership there to the Faithful costs you R1,000, but the value pack is worth more than R3,000. So the Faithful, go and join the Western Province Rugby Faithful.
One of our greatest assets are our fans, the Faithful, and we really wanted to create something unique, something world-class, a supporter club that engaged and interacted with all our fans, not only within the Western Cape, but regionally, nationally, and in fact internationally. We have the best fans in the world, and we believe we put together the most amazing, unique and innovative supporter program. And we call on you to stand together with us. Are you one of the Faithful?
Right, folks, the Newlands Faithful, of course, wprugby.co.za. Now, as you know, Springbok Atlas is, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV, and they are the official transport providers to the Springbok rugby side. We know that if you're a Springbok, if you're a club rugby, or any club for that matter, you quite often have to travel, and Springbok Atlas has got a product available for you at the right price. Springbok Atlas, of course, is available with semi-luxury and luxury coaches, safe, very reliable transport, any destination in South Africa, negotiable rates and vehicles from 20 seaters up to 60 people. So special discounts provided, of course, for the clubs out there. This is called Rashad Luki on 021 506 2572, 021 506 2572. Get your special prices for transport, bus transport, and you can email Rashad at rashad.luki@springbokatlas.co.za. Now, Springbok Atlas took the Springbok team down to the Parklands College as a surprise visit. We managed to follow Springbok Atlas and catch up with some of the box last week.
You know, Springboks and Springbok Atlas go, you know, obviously a long way. So it was great to obviously catch one of their buses and be comfortable, you know. Obviously this time we're not going to a rugby game, you know, we're going to go contribute, so it was really amazing. was really, you know, amazing to get that sort of that welcoming at the school. You know, I mean, the school is probably like 10 years old, I heard, you know, but you know, it was really awesome to be out there with the kids. Going out there and just touching kids live and meeting their heroes and just rubbing shoulders with them, you know, it goes a long way and it goes a long mile. So I hope we did that today.
We are so grateful for the opportunity to meet with heroes like we have today, and thank you very much to Springbok Atlas for bringing them here. We're so grateful. Thank you.
Hi, welcome back everybody. Club Rugby TV. As we mentioned earlier on, the featured game for us was, of course, Van der Stel Evergreens. They were playing out at the Van der Stel Rugby Club over the weekend. It was a big match for the side. Let's catch up now with the highlights from the game and coaches and captains from the match. home. You were looking at the footage there.
Yeah, I've just seen John Noble in the crowd there. So he ran that number 14 remind me a lot of John Noble. I don't know if it's a thing in Stellenbosch, the wingers, but they all like dive through the air if they score. And John Noble was known for that, true legend. But yeah, the number 14 scored two great tries. I just think Van der Stel with the team with the heavier pack with the big scrum, and they scrum Blue Stars there they scrum them in the first half. They scrum just outside their half, and they scrum them almost to the 22. And just a coaching tip there, JP, if you have a pack like that and they scrum the guys, you're under 22, surely you can scrum them again. So they opt to take the 3 points. Surely the ref would have given a penalty try if they scrum them again. So I just think maybe they can just think about that with their pack. They could really hurt teams.
Let's quickly catch up now with the captains and coaches from Van der Stel and Blue Stars.
Ja, nee, dat verwacht het gewit van de Stel gaat komen met alles wat hulle het. Zoals die Roemers maar gelopen, dit hulle op een 4 aan 'n week. En hulle was voor ons, op punt voor om halftime agter te loop. Toen we nog 8 om terug te vechten. Als niet van mij, riem onder die hart van mijn boys. Ja, je ziet overal waar we gaan. Ons traveling met de bus. Zo'n bus in een half uur. Ons moet een bus in een half uur. Ons kader gaat overal samen met ons. Hulle staan achter ons in zo'n hulle. Kan ons hier game winnen in ieder geval. Voor alle toeschouwers van Klap moet ik baie dankie voor hulle support voor die jaar en voor die support wat hulle nog voor ons gaat geven in de toekomst aan die league vorentoe. Maar zo'n hulle als Blue Stars niks.
Ja, ik is maar nou die afgelopen 4-5 maanden is ik bij Blue Stars betrokken als die helpafrichter. Ons hoofdcoach is eindelijk in Engeland, so hij is daar. Hij zal eerst einde van die maand terug wees. Ja, zulke derbies is altijd goede wedstrijden. En dan, je weet, het is een persoonlijke ding, vriend in vriend. En altijd zo'n treitrekkerij en zo. Maar het is goed, op het einde van die dag denk ik dat rugby het receef hier. En dat is een baie goede ding als rugby zie op het einde van die dag. Ja, beslist. Ik denk, ik zei altijd, je kan niet op je thuisveld verloren. Je thuisveld is ononderhandelbaar om op je eigen thuisveld te verloren tegen die bezoekers. En ik denk het is makkelijk op Blue Stars veld om voor Blue Stars daar te gaan kloppen. Zoals we zijn uit de naam van Coronations, hierdie zaterdag hij is volgende zaterdag bij ons. En ik denk op het einde van die dag zal rugby zeer vieren. En ons is, na hierdie verloor vandag zal het ons beslist voor ons beginnen optellen, want ons kan net beter en sterker wees vorentoe.
Ja man, maar wat ik kan zeggen is, derby was goed, onze voorbereiding was goed. Om het speciaal 3 aandacht geoefend. So, aangezien de mannen negatief was, ik deed het omschreven positief. So, en op de einde van de dag heeft onze vrucht daarvan afgeplukt. Ik denk het probleem is net, als onze lead opgebouwd wordt en dan beginnen we een beetje slek en dat is zo al in de game gekomen. En die ouders hebben een beetje moer geraakt, zo is misschien verstaanbaar, maar dat kon ons de game gekost.
Ja, natuurlijk. Die win was voor ons bij belangrijk om natuurlijk die zo leader te wis. Als Klappers vandaag gewinnen, zou het niet de kansen baie versterken om dan die competitie te winnen. En ik denk ons is in een stevige positie, maar nog niet als voet op de grond ook. Ja, nee, ik denk ons is 100% recht. Ons kan niet alles vanzelfsprekend aanvaarden. Ons hebben nog 3 games over. Ik denk ons het meeste van onze harde games heeft ons gespeeld. Dit was een beetje ons gunstel. So, dit kost niet, ons moet nou committed raken op het oefenveld. En hulle deel bijdragen. Gelukkig het ons een goede groep ouens. Ik praat nog aan die tweeders ingesluit. En die mannen gel goed. Hulle ontwikkelen die broederschap. En dat is wat je wil hê. En als je dat hebt, dan is die strijd halfpad gewonnen.
Oh, welcome back, folks. Right, remember you can win yourself a case of Score energy drinks. 33090. Just grab your mobile phone and SMS us now to 33090, and you can put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score energy drinks. Congratulations to Gaynor Adams. Gaynor, you walk away with a case of Score. Someone from Cape Rugby TV is going to be in touch with you shortly. Right, folks, let's quickly take a look at the fixtures coming up in the City, Northern, Southern, and of course the PAL League. A lot of exciting games coming up this weekend. Number 3 up against Western Zebras. Masipumalele come off a massive win. They're still log leaders up against Hamadias over on the weekend. Temperance and Cities up against Caledonian Roses. Watsonia take on Young Ideas. Perseverance and Progress. CPUT Gardens are going to have a work cut out against Western Zebras. And then, of course, in the Southern League, it's Young Brothers against Laguna, Titans against Noordlikkers, Peninsula take on Rocklands, Morning Star. They're shining, of course, in the Southern League at the moment. They're up against Silverleaf this weekend, Atlantis and Thistles, and Retreat and Bishop Lavis. Of course, that's that featured game this coming weekend, where it is Retreat and Bishop Lavis. And then, of course, Blake's up against Rugby, Blue Stars against Stellenbosch Coronations, Strand Pioneers and Eerste Rivier, Windmill United take on Whistling Wheels, and Kailicha are up against Delft. And then in the PAL League, it's Parel United against Violets, PAL Albions take on Young Standards, PAL Rangers take on Simonium, Riverstones in Lower PAL, Young Gardens and Allendale. Those are your fixtures over the weekend. Lots of exciting games. It's surely going to be a lot of fun. Jerome Parvater, thanks for joining us on the show. A lot of different rugby tonight, more technical.
Yeah, always a pleasure, JP. And tonight, interesting game, St. George's against UWC at UWC, so that would be a nice one.
Yeah, folks, you can keep an eye on the social media side of things and keep alive on the results. Their big game this weekend. Faisal, it's been good having you back here. Hopefully we can see you guys on the show more often.
No, thanks a lot. It's good being here, JP. I just want to send a shout out to Lily. Hi, Lily, from Northerns.
Yeah, no, we haven't. Yeah, everyone knows Lily.
Yes.
I remember Lily fondly from Belvini Primary School.
No, definitely.
When we went out there with the Curry Cup.
Correct. I've got an SMS that I need to give a shout out to, so yeah.
Right, folks, we'll of course see you next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.